The proposal. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council shimmered under a dome of artificial starlight, a marvel of architecture orbiting the imperial capital of Luthor 7. Delegates of over 1,000 species filled the levitating seats in concentric circles around the central dais. For the first time in generations, the chamber was packed to capacity, because for the first time in generations, the Empire faced the unknown. Humanity had arrived. The murmurs began when their sleek obsidian diplomatic cruiser entered orbit 3 days ago, bearing the unmistakable insignia of Earth, a stylized phoenix rising through a ring of stars. Now, as the chamber buzzed with anticipation, the humans entered, 12 figures, walking with a peculiar mix of formality and ease. No bodyguards, no fanfare, just quiet confidence. At the front strode Ambassador Lena Royce. Tall, brown-skinned, silver streaks in her braided hair. She wore no robe, no crest, just a tailored navy blue suit and a pin of earth. Her eyes scanned the chamber with clinical precision. Behind her followed a military general in adaptive exoarmor, a quantum physicist, a linguist, a cultural historian, and 6 aides. Their presence made it clear humanity wasn't here to ask questions. They were here to listen and to decide. A hush fell over the assembly as the Emperor's projection materialized above the dais. His towering holographic form radiated shimmering authority. The Emperor, clad in flowing iridescent robes, spoke with a voice tuned to vibrate in every delegate's native auditory range. "Honored guests of Terra," he began, "the Empire welcomes you. Your ascension to interstellar travel has impressed our analysts. Your innovations in war, science, and survival are noted. We extend to you the hand of unity." He extended his arms as holograms bloomed around him. Images of prosperity, shared knowledge, peace treaties. But Lena didn't glance at them. The Emperor continued. "Under the Empire, you will be granted protected status, access to our trade networks, military protection, cultural preservation, cooperation." Lena waited a beat. Then, without any ceremony, she stepped forward and spoke. "Humanity declines your offer." The words struck the chamber like a meteor impact. Delegates leaned forward in disbelief. A murmur swelled, then quieted again as the Emperor's hologram flickered, his voice slow, careful. "Clarify. You decline unity." Lena's expression didn't change. "We decline to join. We're not interested in unity defined by conquest wrapped in silk." Several gasps rang out. One of the Carithian diplomats fainted in shock. The Relt ambassador flared his throat sacs in anger. The Galactic Empire had absorbed every civilization it encountered, either by cooperation or by subjugation. Refusal had never been part of the equation. "You insult our gift," said the Emperor. "We recognize the pattern," Lena replied. "Offer peace, then demand obedience, then rewrite our history. We've had empires before. On Earth, they always fell." Ambassador Juker of the Relt species hissed, leaning forward. "You truly believe you can defy the Empire?" General Kale, the human standing behind Lena, spoke for the first time. His voice was calm, like a distant thunderstorm. "We don't believe. We know." Lena stepped forward again. "We came here to observe, to learn, not to be ruled, not to kneel." She offered a slight bow, equal parts courtesy and finality. "Thank you for your offer. Goodbye." And then they turned and walked out. No bluster, no weapons, just silence in their wake. In the chamber, panic began as a whisper, because for the first time in 10,000 years, someone had said no, and meant it. Echoes of defiance. The shockwave of Earth's refusal rippled across the Empire at faster-than-light speed. By the next cycle, news relays in every system broadcast the same headline: "Humanity rejects imperial unity." The footage of Ambassador Lena Royce's calm defiance played on loop, an expressionless human standing against the full weight of the Empire and walking away. To the core worlds, it was treason. To the fringe colonies, it was inspiration. On Arxil Prime, a mining planet under constant imperial surveillance, whispers of rebellion, once crushed under fear, began to stir again. On the ocean world of Saravon, A university banned from teaching native history started receiving encrypted transmissions from Earth's open-source archives. And in the deep alleys of Beltahar Station, smugglers traded in old Earth literature, Orwell, Mandela, Sun Tzu. But in the Imperial Palace on Luthor 7, there was no whispering, only rage. "Why weren't we warned?" growled Emperor Tyrax, his multi-eyed gaze scanning the row of intelligence officers. "Why didn't your analysts predict this?" The director of Galactic Threat Assessment, a four-armed Blinari, spoke cautiously. "We underestimated their cultural resilience. Humans are uniquely stubborn." Stubborn, the Emperor snarled. They declared ideological war. One of the Grand Admirals stepped forward, his voice steady. "Shall I mobilize the suppression fleets?" "No," Tyrax said, fingers tapping the edge of his throne. "Not yet. Force will only martyr them. We need to understand their threat." "Threat?" someone whispered. "They only have 50 colony worlds." "Yes," Tyrax snapped. "And they built those in a century. They rose from planetary warfare to quantum manipulation in a single lifetime. Their home world was still fractured politically when they launched their first interstellar arc. No unity, no central command, yet they expanded." The chamber fell silent. "They are chaos incarnate," the Emperor said, "and if their defiance spreads." Meanwhile, aboard Earth's diplomatic cruiser Phoenix 1, the atmosphere was tense but focused. Lena Royce sat in the debrief chamber, watching encrypted messages pour in from Terran High Command. General Kale stood beside her, arms folded, his eyes watching stars streak past the viewports. "Well," Kale said, "they didn't try to vaporize us on the way out." "That's something." Lena didn't smile. "They're not sure what to do with us yet. That buys us time." "Time for what?" "To prepare." Dr. Aliris Sue, the physicist, joined them. "There's more. We confirmed it." Several subjugated species reached out after the broadcast. "Covert channels. They want to talk. Some are asking about alliance." Kale raised an eyebrow. "You sure it's not bait?" "Some might be," Linus said, "but some are real." We lit a spark. Kale nodded slowly. "Then we'd better be ready to defend it." Because Earth hadn't just refused an offer. They'd fire the opening shot of a new kind of war. Not one of missiles, but of ideas. Fire in the void. The Empire moved swiftly, but not with fleets. Not yet. First came the information war. Human broadcast relays were targeted with quantum interference. Diplomatic channels were flooded with false messages. Imperial analysts crafted propaganda suggesting Earth was unstable, dangerous, on the verge of internal collapse. Across the galaxy, Empire-friendly media called them anarchists, barbarians in suits, a mistake of evolution. It didn't work. The broadcast of Lena's refusal had gone viral in ways no species anticipated. Her words, "We came to observe, not to kneel," became a rallying cry. Translated into over 900 languages, it was printed on walls, whispered in underground gatherings, and embedded in rebel AI scripts. Even inside the Empire, discontent stirred. And Earth moved too. In orbit around the outer colony of Vega 4, the United Terran Navy launched Project Echo Flare, an encrypted comms network designed to bypass Imperial censorship and beam Earth's message to every hidden corner of the galaxy. Using repurposed solar sails, microquantum routers, and pirate drone stations, the signal spread faster than light. In a week, 17 species made contact. Some were enslaved peoples longing for hope. Some were old rivals of the Empire, long broken and quiet. And some were Imperial defectors, scientists, thinkers, soldiers, tired of serving a system built on obedience and fear. Lena, now operating out of the Earth orbital base Arc Station Prime, oversaw the diplomatic flood. "We've received a message from the Tyranny," her aide reported. "They're willing to break the non-aggression pact if we support their rebellion." "Put them on the second tier," Lena said, scanning half a dozen screens. "We prioritize the Kareth. Their people are already resisting. They need tangible support." Kale entered with a datapad. "You want to see this?" He tossed it on the table. It displayed a classified Imperial fleet order. 3 dreadnoughts and 8 support vessels, rerouted toward the neutral planet of Jerix 5. a known trade nexus, and a system with a small Terran listening post. They're testing us, Kale said. See how we react. We'll respond, Lena said. Diplomatically? She shook her head. Not this time. At the edge of the Jarek system, cloaked in the magnetic haze of its second moon, the TNS Wrathborn waited. A heavy destroyer, it pulsed with adaptive armor and graviton projectors. Aboard, Captain Imani Varga monitored the incoming Imperials with cold intensity. Signal from command, her comms officer said. We are clear to engage in defense of Terran sovereignty. Repeat, green light. Imani stood. All hands, battle stations. The Imperials arrived as expected. Proud, massive, overconfident. They hailed once. Demanded surrender. The Wrathborn didn't reply. She struck first. From the shadow of the moon, a storm of human engineering erupted. Kinetic spears, rail-launched at relativistic speed, tore into the lead cruiser before its shields could adapt. Micro-drones hacked comms within seconds. Targeted EMPs fried guidance systems. By the time the third Terran ship, Resolute Dawn, decloaked to support, the Imperial dreadnought was limping, its escorts in disarray. The Empire had expected posturing. What they got was precision devastation. Back on Luthor, 7, panic deepened. These aren't primitives, one Grand Admiral whispered. They study. They adapt. They don't just fight. They undermine. They used information, diplomacy, and then surgical force, said another. This is a doctrine we've never faced. The Emperor's voice was ice. Then we must become something they've never faced either. The Empire was preparing for war, but so was Earth, and now the whole galaxy was watching. The turning point. The first open war front was a mining moon called Saron 3, a backwater outpost to the Empire, forgotten and stripped bare. But to Earth, it was something else, a message. The local population, hybrids of the insectoid Gavari species, had revolted after watching Lena Royce's speech. The Empire responded with orbital bombardment. 250,000 dead. The ghastly images were scrubbed from Imperial media, but Earth's Echo Flare network showed everything. Humanity didn't hesitate. In less than 96 hours, Terran Marines landed on Saron 3, driving off the remaining Imperial garrison with minimal loss. The Gavari wept as human medics tended their wounded. For the first time in living memory, someone had come to help, not to conquer. And it didn't stop there. Across dozens of systems, coordinated human-led resistance sparked revolts. Drones dropped food where famine had been engineered. Civilian AI blocks were restored. Rebel messages, once whispered in fear, now aired through wideband Terran channels. The Empire tried to respond, but it was too late. Their doctrine, rule through fear, was a sword now turned against them. Entire worlds, once obedient, began to question. Some revolted openly. Others simply stopped listening. Back on Arc Station Prime, the Earth Council convened in full for the first time since first contact. Ambassador Lena Royce stood before the display wall, which showed maps filled with flaring red, Imperial control, green, neutral zones, and blue, Terran-aligned systems. For the first time, the colors were beginning to shift. The Empire is crumbling on the edges, she said. Their central fleet is massive, yes, but they're fighting ghosts. Words, ideas, hope. General Kale leaned forward. Then we press harder. Not just with ships, Lena said. With truth. We expose every crime, every act of erasure. We keep the signal alive. Dr. Sue added, and we offer what they never did, choice. The council voted. Operation Beaconfall launched the next day. 100 Terran ships, each carrying supplies, diplomats, and encoded libraries of Earth's knowledge, deployed across the outer empire. No weapons drawn, no threats made, just light in the dark. The turning point came not from a battle, but a defection. High Admiral Virex, a decorated Imperial officer and legend among the core systems, publicly denounced the Empire in a galaxy-wide transmission. I have seen the truth, he said. They offered us control. Humanity offers us dignity. 2 weeks later, 5 Imperial worlds declared independence. And then 10 more. The emperor raged, executed advisors, and ordered full mobilization. But it no longer mattered. The empire had ruled through fear for 10,000 years. But fear only works when there's no alternative. And now, the galaxy had won. Epilogue. Lena Royce stood once more on the floor of the Galactic Council. This time, not as a guest, but as a representative of the Terran coalition of free worlds. Around her sat not just humans, but Gavari, Kareth, Tyranni, and dozens of others who had joined Earth's stand. The Empire still existed, but smaller now, fractured, negotiating. Lena looked out at the chamber and remembered the day she said no. That simple word had changed the stars. Because humanity, born in chaos, forged in resistance, had taught the galaxy one undeniable truth. Freedom isn't given, it's taken and defended together.